Design really should be part of your standard toolbox if you are a narrative AI filmmaker. Any tool that helps move towards that level of control over a single shot is really important. If you are serious about narrative AI filmmaking, then this video is definitely for you, and it's one of those videos where it's time for us to put on our big boy pants, because we're going to be talking about stuff that is really incredibly important to you as a narrative AI filmmaker. But if narrative filmmaking isn't your thing, this may or may not be useful. Still very useful, but as a narrative AI filmmaker, this is a must-watch. Today I'm reviewing a tool called Dzine, and there's a very important reason why I'm making this video. I've actually stopped making paid promotion videos. This is a paid promotion video. It's the last one I'm going to be doing, and the reason I'm doing it is that it's actually a really important tool. Many other offers I've had for paid promotional videos are for tools that are pleasant enough, but there's nothing groundbreaking about them anymore. The ones that I've made so far, I stand by them. There's some good stuff out there, and the things that I've made videos about I've been very impressed with. This one is the last one, and it's very important. Let me tell you why. Firstly, the problem. You have to understand the problem first. If you're anything like me and you have a screenplay that you're working to. For me, everything I'm doing here is driven by the quest to turn my screenplay that took me more than 10 years to write into a watchable movie using emerging AI tools. Now, I'm not trying to create an actual feature film with AI tools. I'm looking to create a demo movie, something that is watchable, so that if this movie never gets made properly, I've at least got something that I can sit down and watch and go, that's what I saw for 10 years when I wrote this. It's like therapy, wanting to actually see the thing that I worked so much to create. Now, if you have a story that you love as well, chances are, if you're a good screenwriter, your story is a visual one, not just an audio story. If it's got lots of conversation in, it's probably better as either a radio play or a novel. But for a visual story, something where it's visually rich and you have to see the story in order to follow it, then that's something for film and television. This is where these things are really important. Dzine is a tool that for me is becoming an essential part of my workflow as I'm starting in earnest to actually turn this into a watchable demo movie. So my workflow at the moment starts with the script, and then I take the script and break it down into a storyboard tool. Katalist is my storyboard tool of choice, and the guys at Katalist are doing some great work on it, and we're working together to improve it and make it better and better. I really like what's going on there. But the storyboard tool is an important next step. But after that, it's time to start actually building the shots. And this is where Dzine comes into it, because if you're anything like me and you tried to create a story using AI tools, you go out of your mind very quickly at the lack of continuity. Not just character consistency. Character consistency is a huge issue in AI tools. But for narrative filmmaking, continuity is the goal, not just character consistency. There's so much more. Let me show you. If we look over here at building a shot, and I did this a few weeks ago, just off the top of my head, I listed 10 things that you need to get consistent shot to shot within a scene in order to not confuse the audience and in order to tell your story. So your characters, of course, need to be consistent. The location needs to look the same shot to shot until it doesn't, and it's been attacked and destroyed, and it has to stay destroyed shot to shot, you know. But continuity, costumes need to have continuity and consistency. Visual effects, props, vehicles, the characters' poses, the actions that the characters take, the eye direction, where the characters are looking, these have to be controllable. All these things have to be controllable. And of course the colors as well, and that's just 10 things. There's more than that, but in reality, if you're serious about telling a story using AI tools, you have to be able to control far more than just the consistency of the character. And in order to do that, let's take Midjourney for example. In order to do that, most tools will have features that will let you control one or two of the elements, and you can have and you can kind of blend a style or a character or something, and you can have one or two or three or sometimes four different elements that will influence a shot. Kling just came out with a great thing where it's got 4 shots, 4 images that you can input and create a video from those 4 input images, and that's great. But it's not guaranteed to give you exactly the same character and exactly the same costume and exactly the same. So any tool that helps move towards that level of control over a single shot is really important. This is where design comes into it. At first glance, design seems to be a multi-tool that will give you lots of different AI tools in one place. And those are useful. This is very useful, along with several others that do that. You've got the obvious ones: image to image, text to image, consistent character creation that works really well, image to video, face swap. You go down, you've got the ability to create your own styles. You've got all kinds of things: enhancing the photo, removing objects, make local changes to change costume, insert an object, face swap. All these kind of things work really, really well. So it's packed with a real multi-tool of options. And a style library that means you can choose anything from Flux 1.1 as a style library, as an image engine, and it really goes a long way to giving the kind of style that you're looking for. The thing that makes design really important for narrative filmmakers is that it has a layers approach similar to Photoshop that allows you to get each layer just the way you want it before you compact it into a single image and then use that as a reference image to create video or to create another image. I'm not going to show you the whole thing because I don't have time for that, but what I am going to show you is the process that I took to build a shot. Okay, I just need to intervene at this point and let you know what this shot that I'm working on is all about. This is my bedroom, my family and I, family of 5 in a 2-bedroom apartment. I have this little corner of the room back here, and this is where I do all my work. So this background of the studio, it actually is this tiny little corner of the bedroom. But that's not the thing I want to show you about. Let me show you the script and the scene that I'm working on. It's actually a single shot. Let's see, can I flip this over? No, got to do it this way. Okay. So let's see, what you're looking at here is my script, the screenplay, page, and page 2, it's this opening bit here that says, this is the intro for the main character. Through the main entrance, Daisy bounces cheerfully into the club with a group of friends, holding hands with her handsome boyfriend. She's a happy, blonde, sun-kissed California beach bum, happy hippie chick, boho babe with flowers in her hair. Okay. That has proven to be a really, really hard shot to get using prompting alone. So that's what this shot that I'm building up is all about. By the way, this is not finished. I'm going to go back and redo this until I get it just right. But it was enough to show you what the tool does. So here's the one that I've been working on. And if I open this up, the first thing you need to get your head around is that you are not kind of doing these creations and then moving on to the next one, the next one, the next one. What you're doing is creating. It's more like Photoshop in that you've got your area that your desktop area that you plant little bits on, and you change the visibility of the layers and you tweak the layers to build up a single image. So you have to think differently. So anything that you do over here, these are the actions that you take on your image. These are the tools that you use to do something to your image. These over here would be the results of those images all the way down here, all kinds of results. But over here, this is very, very important. If you click on this one, shows you your layers. And this is how you get to see layers. And by the way, when you get a result, you can kind of double click on something and then it dumps it onto the main screen. So just a different way of working. Once you get used to it, you kind of go, okay, this is quite intuitive actually. So if we go to layers, let me show you what I started out with. So I wanted to start out with the basic opening big wide double door entrance to my nightclub. The next challenge was getting my first 2 characters, my principal female protagonist and her at the time boyfriend. And they're arriving into the nightclub, they're waving at everybody like this, all happy and excited, and there's an entourage of all of her friends behind her all bursting and excited. It's her 18th birthday and she's like, hi. so hard to get that. So I started off by scribbling my characters to begin to get them in place, to get an idea, right, this is what I want on there. And you've got different ways of scribbling. By the way, I picked up an iPad at Christmas that will let me use a pen on it. That's proving really, really helpful to scribble. But anyway, this is my scribbled version. The next thing that I did was, and this is a handy hint, my wife and I posed, because I thought this is the quickest way to get the poses right. So we got this shot here of my wife and I in the living room. My wife, bless her, Yulia, she just wore a little strappy top because I wanted a dress on here, and without knowing quite what kind of dress options we were going to go with, I thought, let's create outfits on us both that are as close to the kind of outfits that we're trying to look for. And the guy was wearing a tuxedo, a smart suit, something like that, and the girl is wearing kind of party dress. So here is us kind of dressed in some way, in a way that makes it easier for the AI to paint on top of us. And that helps, by the way, when you're using an image as a reference image. So we pulled this in. This is our living room. Here's our little boy watching TV over in the corner here. And so you'll notice when I pasted it on top, you've still got the other image underneath. The next thing that I was able to do was go up here, and you've got the remove background option that works really, really well. Just a single click on the background, and more times than not, it will just cleanly remove just what you want it to cleanly remove. And by the way, you don't need to worry too much about precision here, because what we're doing is building a rough image that has all the elements in the right places for us then to use that as a reference image to then create another image, which we then turn into video. So this is like a placeholder, and we're pulling together elements and building up this image as much as we can. So the next thing that I did over here was remove the background, and if I take that away, this is what we look like. Down here you'll see that you turn layers on and off by clicking the show hide button over here where the eyeball is. So I'm going to turn that off, and that layer underneath goes away. And you rearrange layers by shuffling them up and down as you would do in Photoshop or any other layered type project. So once I'd done that, I then ran this through image to image options. So up here with image to image, where you start with any kind of ropey image and then create something. That was really, really cool because that allowed me to test lots. Here you've got lots of options to choose a different kind of style, and I played around with different kinds of styles, and I played around with different settings, particularly the structure match, because you've got the option to either have a weak similarity to the original image or a strong similarity to the original image. And if you're trying to hang on to the pose, then you need to be, I've discovered, at least kind of midpoint and above. You've got color match options, face match options if you want to keep the original character faces, high quality of course, and generating it works really, really well. Let me show you some of the results from my wife and I posing up. And very quickly you see a lot of the physicality. The girl has maintained a lot of the same physicality that my wife has the height difference between us. Our arms are in the same place, and because the prompt had a description of all of this, it takes the prompt and the image, blends the two together, and these are some of the results we got. Then you see then similar. What was exciting to me was how workable these images were in terms of having a couple there who had the same kind of physicality and pose and excited kind of, hi everybody. And this was exactly what I was looking for in this shot. And so finally, with the two of us posing it up and using that as a reference image, we got to this. So I went through a whole bunch of these different experiments to see what the results would be like. Faces are often a little bit ropey, but the face repair tool does a good job at repairing the faces. I'll show you in just a moment. So in the end, I liked this one. I thought, let's use these two as the base image. And so I double clicked on that. You'll see if you'll see up here, it said double click to place on canvas. And you just double click on that and it dumps it on the canvas. So let's go back to layers here, and you'll see. So I therefore then had these guys on my canvas. And the next thing I needed to do was fix this hand. So I ran through the AI editor here has options for local edit. So I just did a lasso tool around her hand, typed in the word hand, and I got several options back. So you got different kind of hand options over here. And in the end, that was awful. That one was a mess, but I had two that were workable, so I just chose the one that was workable enough. And then I did the same thing with his hand over here as well, because his hand was looking a little ropey, so I got different hands. A lot of them were a mess, but then I got one that was good enough. I tried a face swap on the guy because his face was looking a little ropey, and I got several really, really usable faces. I chose one that I liked on him. So if you go back to layers here, you'll be able to see how we started out down here. Her six-fingered hand and his dodgy face, and I tried replacing her face, but to be honest, it was good enough for what I was trying to do. But the hand, so watch here. Now if I click on the next layer up here, watch her hand, there we go. Then I replaced his hand, cleaned that up a little bit. Then I replaced his face. Where is his face on this? Ended up with a guy looking like this. So at this point, you're starting to really see how I'm building things up. So behind that, I can then go and switch off some of the other elements. Get rid of me and Julia. And here we have a shot of these two where I want them. You can actually click on that and reframe it and resize it. So if I wanted them to be coming through the door, I can make them smaller and have them like this, like, oh. So, you've got that option to kind of decide where you want your characters to be around here. So the next step was to find some more crowd, some friends. Some other re-rolls generated some other images, and I decided to crop out from another image these girls over here. And so I cropped them out. Let me see, that's them, and shrunk them a little bit. And then I flipped them over so that I could have more friends in the shot. Then I got rid of the guy over on the other side who was he wasn't really in or out, and he was looking in the wrong direction. I needed them all bursting through the door. Then I used the local edit tool to add some feet. Here we go, gave them some party shoes, and that was all good enough. So and again, you don't need to get the image perfect because we're aiming for something that we can then use as a reference image, and that was close enough that I could then use that as for an image to image transfer. Now when I did the image to image transfer, which is where you basically you have your project open on your desktop, and then you go and choose one of the different styles, either a style that you make your own, or you use one of these other styles. And then you've got the options to change style, intensity, structure, match, how closely it matches the structure. Lots of really, really helpful options, whether to hang on to the faces or not. Of course, high quality, why would you not choose that? And so these were some of the results that I got when I then ran this image through the image to image generator. Using this, I had a prompt that was quite descriptive of the image that I was looking for. So you have to kind of really anchor the two together, give it as much of a similar image to the one that you're looking for, and a prompt that tries to describe it in as much detail as you can. And I had different results depending on which style I was using. But I mean, here were some of the results. And you're starting to get, lots of these were really, really usable. Don't get hung up about the faces, because there's a reason for that. But as long as the people are in the right places, and the color scheme, I tried different color schemes just for the fun of it. We ended up with different kinds of dresses, but at least they were still, broadly speaking, party dresses. And that's something to work on later, because you can then do a replacement if you really need the costumes to be the same. Didn't get around to that, but that would have been an option. Then we've got different kind of costumes. And what's great in all of these is that the characters are where they're supposed to be. Different versions of these, looking just really, really fun. Now, I liked one of the neon ones, and I liked one of the ones that was looking a little bit more muted in its color tones. So I dragged those back in. I dropped them onto the layers as layers onto the image, and what I had there was, went from this to this. Brilliant. Then I added another one on, and that looked like this, and then another one, this looked like that. I was really pleased with all of these. And so then I ran them through the video, the AI to video one, which I'm afraid I can't show you because just yesterday, before, as I was finishing this off, I ran out of credits and I ran out of my trial period. I had a pro plan that the guys at Design very generously let me use for a couple of months. Short version, I ran out of time, and so, but it works really, really well. Let me show you the results. Here we have the video. So if we go up here, one of the things that the video option gives you, by the way, is there are multiple versions of video tools that you can use. So there is their standard one, there is Runway, there's Kling 1.6, there's Halo Minimax, there's Luma, and it's brilliant because it gives you options for which tool to use. It's great fun. So I thought, let's see what they look like. This one was the standard one, video mode standard. That looked like this, and I was really impressed. Like my shot's been brought to life. And again, bear in mind that what I'm looking to do is create a shot that will go on my storyboard, so that I can build it up and build it up and build it up. And again, this is my first effort. There's lots of things that I want to change and go back to do, but I was really, really pleased with this. So looking back at, let's see, Kling 1.6 next, and this one, spoiler alert, this is my favorite. It looks completely real in terms of their movement. I was really impressed. It looked like this was a crowd who were actually arriving and they were bursting through. It didn't give me what I was looking for in terms of all of them bursting through like this, but it looked lifelike. It looked plausible and authentic, and that's something I can work with. So that I was really, really pleased with, because if it looks like they are believably happy and they are arriving, to be honest, that still tells the story, which is all I needed to do. On this occasion, Halo Minimax was also a great contender. These guys were waving and waving and waving. Still a very, very usable shot. Slow motion, it's always frustration. It's always frustrating for me when AI tools give you slow motion when you are looking for normal speed. So I often have to kind of hard code in there into the prompt normal speed. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Finally, Luma. Honorable mention, nice effort, all over the place, unusable. But thanks for trying. Sometimes Luma does a good job. But at the moment, we are where we are. The nice thing about a tool like this, where they are plugged in with APIs back to Runway and Luma and all the others, is that at least as each of these models updates to a newer, improved version of its video generation tool, it kind of ripples across. So you never can tell month to month which one is going to be the best, and shot to shot which one's going to be the best for your particular shot. Final two, I did a couple of runs through with this shot on here. So I just went straight for Kling. And I was like, oh, this is just great. Some new people arrive, but they arrive from places where they're supposed to arrive from. I loved it. I mean, it's great. This is workable. I can work with this. There's more work to do to refine it and change it and tweak it, but it was, by the time I'd got to this point, I was like, I have struggled to get anywhere close to these kind of results from just prompting alone. And I've struggled to get this kind of structural consistency and structural control from prompts alone. So this now becomes an essential part of my workflow when I go from script to storyboard and then to build individual shots. So there's a lot to explore here. What's really, really great is that the tool does an enormous amount of design, and I haven't come close to reaching its outer limits yet. It's a little bit like Photoshop in that it's one of those tools that you spend years and years learning, and it keeps getting better and better, and the more you learn about it, the better you get. Last year, we had lots of AI tools that were quite ropey, beta versions that weren't really ready for release, but everybody was shoveling quickly to get their new AI tool to market. And we were all okay with that because they were new and cool and they were just toys at the time. But this year, 2025, we've moved to the next level where we're starting to look at AI tools as serious professional tools. And for a professional tool in a professional workflow, you need to get past all of the bugginess that was culturally normal last year. So now the standard is raised higher, and when I'm looking at tools now, I need them to get past that point where it's riddled with obvious bugs. Design gets full marks from me for that, in that I haven't come across any aggravating bugs where I've thought, look, has their test team gone home? Design, thank you very much for letting me play around with this. Solid tool for narrative AI filmmakers. Really, really should be part of your standard toolbox if you are a narrative AI filmmaker.